Hi, everyone. Welcome to C3's first annual Power of AI event. My name is Joe Earl. I'm the cyber group practice leader here, and I'm very happy you all came. I wanted to start with some really bad jokes that AI helped me write. How does an AI company motivate its employees? With algorithms and blues. No, okay, that was the worst one. They get better. They get better. Why did the insurance agency AI refuse to join the team for fish tacos after the event? Because it had a strict no fishing algorithm. Thank you. Thank you for the pity laugh there. Why did the AI go to therapy? It had too many unresolved algorithms. Yeah, I kind of saw that one coming. A priest, a rabbi, and an AI walk into a bar. The AI says, I've analyzed 10,000 jokes starting this way, and there's no way this goes well for me. You're all here because AI has drastically changed the way we work, our world, and our culture. We're here because AI is the new thing everybody's talking about, but nobody knows anything about it. With this fast-moving technology, it can positively or negatively affect our business and the way we work. Okay, so AI, of course, like I was saying, it's changing the way we work. It's not just here for us office workers. It's coming to the factory floor. AI is using its algorithms to find mistakes, patterns, ways that we can fix things on the assembly line as well as in the office. Of course, there's a dark side of AI. AI is being used by hackers to scour the internet, look you up on social media, find, a way to personalize their phishing emails for you. So you got to be on the lookout for those as well. We have competitors in the AI space, of course, in business and also in AI. We're in kind of an arms race with China. And there are interesting security flaws when we use Chinese AI. We have to be careful as well. Robots building robots. This is the newest thing for humanoid robots are going to be used in a factory to build other robots. So if you're wondering if the future is coming, it's here. We've got robots. AI is also being used in biotech. In this example, they're mapping metabolites in the body to discover how diseases work and how to prevent them. AI and HR. We'll never hire people remotely like we did before. With deepfakes, we are running into situations where people are hiring people from North Korea. People are doing interviews for their friends, like they used to do when people took SAT tests for their friends. Now they're doing interviews for their friends using deepfakes. One quick tip in this interview, the interviewer is saying, put your hand in front of your face. And that's a way to kind of test if the person's an AI or not, because the software won't render if the hand's in front of the face. We bring you this event to help you in your business, to educate you, to enhance your business with AI. And we brought two great experts to the floor. Teric Steines, EVP of Strategic Innovation and Brand at Assurex Global. Assurex Global is an international association of insurance agencies that share information and best practices. They choose an agency of each region all over the world. Together, we form the biggest insurance agency in the world. And C3 is privileged to be the Southern California agency for Assurex Global. Teric is going to give us an overview of the different types of AI, practical tips on how businesses of any size can implement AI tools to be more productive. We also have Mike Dowdy here, AWS certified practitioner and cloud security expert at RapidScale. Mike has run data centers, has done cloud security for most of his career, and has been speaking on AI the last couple years. RapidScale and its parents' company, Cox Communication, are valued vendors of C3, so be sure to check them out. Interesting fact about Mike is that he's the co-host of an up-and-coming cybersecurity podcast called Ransomware Rewind. I'm the other host. He will bring you use cases and how to properly implement AI models in your business. Let's give it our hand for our first speaker, Teric Steines.
I'm Teric Steines. I am with Assurex Global. I have the best job in the world right now. For 20 some years, I was in the IT and innovation space for an agency and then a financial institution. And then when I left there, I joined Assurex Global about 5 years ago. And while most people have to spend their day dealing with customers and dealing with actually running their business, my day is spent working on people's businesses. So my job all day long is to find ways to help our partners like C3 grow their business and be more successful. It is a blessing and a privilege to work with them. Excellent agency. Awesome quote by Eliza. By far the greatest danger of artificial intelligence is that people conclude too early that they understand it. Very, very true. I'm going to, just to kind of level set here for 1 second, I'm going to kind of go over just some basics of AI, kind of that 101, 102 level. If I'm boring you, I apologize. If you are learning something, awesome. Basically, all artificial intelligence is, it's a simulation of your intelligence done by a computer or a machine that's programmed to do so. It is definitely evolving. When you think about weak AI, all the basics that are out there right now. So it's not super smart. It can do things based on how it's programmed, right? And then we get into strong AI. Strong AI is where we're starting to go. Originally, strong AI was 5 years away. It's not 5 years away anymore. It's moving really fast. So now it can start doing human level intelligence processing. It can reason, it can use logic, etc. Not only that, but it can teach itself how to do more things faster, better, etc. And then we get into super AI. Super AI is the nirvana of AI. That's where AI is significantly smarter than us. It does things that our brains can't process. So think about curing diseases. Think about making it so there's no more hunger in the world. Those are the types of things that they believe super AI can do. So here's some of the things you've probably seen before, but here's just the key aspects around it. So machine learning, that's where the AI is actually grabbing data from different input sources. You can tell it and teach it what you want it to do. That's the basics of machine learning. So it continuously can improve over time. Deep learning is just taking a whole bunch of MLs and putting them together. It's a big neural network, super fast, etc. Natural language processing, that's where the AI can actually understand what you're saying and can write content for you, write video for you, all that kind of stuff. Vision is the ability for the AI to actually understand what it's looking at. There's also sensors and things like that that fall into this space. And I went backwards. And then automation and robotics. So these are ones that actually build cars, do all that kind of stuff. They don't need input from a human to know what they want to do and how to operate. Some incredible advancements in the last year in AI, the cost effectiveness of it. You don't need a data center of your own to do anything in AI. It's all cloud-based now. You can do everything in the cloud. It's all very cheap now. The agentic systems, that's what I'm talking about, where they're getting smarter and faster. They can also do multimodal, so they can take in inputs from 20 different sources at the same time and different types of sources. So not only can it take input from a sensor, it can take language input, it can take vision input all at the same time, and then use that to do whatever it is that you want it to do. Everything's in the cloud with AI now, so you don't have to worry about that. The reflective AI models are really cool because now the AI is starting to look at the answers that it's giving you and improve on them on its own. So it goes, is this really the answer I want to do? Before, you had to have teams of not developers, but teams of people, analysts, that were looking at the results that the AI was producing, and then it would have to tell it what to do, what was wrong. So let's say you have an AI that's a chatbot and it's taking customer service questions, and the answer that it gave was not the answer you'd give. Well, then you tell it, hey, I don't like that answer, give it this answer. Now the reflective stuff is starting to do that on its own. So it's getting better and better, and it's doing it based on how the customer actually responds to what it's telling them and what it's doing with them. The living intelligence is the space that I kind of geek out on, honestly. This is where they're actually using real biology, neurons, and things like that to actually process data. So there's a company out there called Ginkgo Bioworks. It's really cool what they do. So they have the ability with their AI to take in all this information and run their own clinical trials with it. And as it's doing its clinical trials, it's evaluating the results of those trials and adjusting the genomes and things like that to make it faster, better, and more productive. They're doing it in the pharmaceutical industry, they're doing it in the farming industry, etc. The other company in that space that I really like is a one called, where'd they go? No, it doesn't matter. They're called Data Brain. What they've done is they have a neuron network. So they take neurons from either rodents or humans, and they literally put them into a communications dish. I'm not exactly sure how they do it, but these neurons can take in stimuli and then make um, communications back based on that stimuli. So they can do responses based on that stimuli. So what they did as their first initial test was, remember the Atari game Pong? They actually they taught neurons how to play Pong. And then the neurons started doing it on their own. And what's cool about this kind of technology is that it takes about 20 watts of energy to run it. That's it. Because your human brain is very, very low energy. It can actually run these things. The practical application of this is they can give these neuron stimuli, and they're talking about curing things like epilepsy and dementia with it. Because right now, the things that cause problems in your brain are your neurons when it comes to epilepsy and dementia. And they can start giving those neuron stimuli to stop doing that. That's where that's going. Obviously, there's a ton of ethical and concerns like that with it, but that's where it's gone. And then the launch of the advanced AI models in the last year is amazing. You got Grok, you've got Bandy, all of them are out there now. They're very, very cheap, and they do a really good job. I love this quote by Harvard Business School professor: AI won't replace humans, but humans who use AI will replace humans who don't. Fully believe that. Here's just some ways I threw in here. One of the things I want to share with you all is I'm not going to go over all these things. I've got about 5 pages of notes on all these slides, and I'll share the slide deck with everyone. So if people want to dig in and read a ton and get super deep, great. It'll take you about an hour. And there's links to things of where I got the research from. So you can click links and go actually read for yourself and learn more if you want. But these are just a few of the ways that you can utilize AI in your business right now today. There are a ton of apps out there that already do it. You just have to pick some and go. Customer engagement, marketing, content. If you are in coding at all, if your business needs to do any coding, that is the number one spot that people are utilizing AI. And I'll share a story about that later with you. I'm going to focus on 2 areas: sales and marketing. And I got to press this button too. 33%. 33% of an inside salesperson time is actually spent selling. The rest of their time is spent doing garbage work, administrative work, all that kind of stuff. This is the percent of time that AI can give you back because you can get that stuff off their desk by just using some of these tools. Salesforce, HubSpot, Lavender, Poly AI, Clary, they all have amazing advantages. HubSpot already has it all built in where the AI will pre-populate information about your prospects. It will generate emails for you. It'll tell you when to do things and how to do it. Salesforce is the same way. There's a company over in England right now that just implemented a piece with Salesforce where the AI is their customer service agent now. And it's taking all of the information from the customer and moving it through the different London markets. It's an amazing technology. So all that stuff can be done right now today. Lavender is one I really like. It's a email assistant, and it takes in content that your customer is liking, using, seeing, touching, etc. So anything that your customer is doing as it relates to you or anywhere else that they can find, it keeps building customer profiles based on that for you to use to your advantage. It will also then write the emails for you. So it does all those things for you. So and HubSpot does it as well. Microsoft Copilot's starting to do it, where you can actually, if you keep good notes on your customers as you're interacting with them, they'll write all the emails for you. You just have to approve them. You just click approve, approve, approve. So it can automate everything from your call analysis to just improving the sales process all by itself. One company I really like in this space is Gong. Um, they capture billions of sales interactions, and then what they do is they track not just the context, but they track the context, not just the words. So they track everything about your interactions that you're doing, and then they tell you what to do with that customer. So everything that you're doing in sales, they're going to tell you how to do it. There's a company over in Israel called Plank Data. Um, they actually took Gong and tied it into Teams. So now what happens is when Gong gets something on a customer that comes in or a prospect that comes in, it will then assign a task to a human in Teams to then accomplish. And then that task gets checked off in Gong, and it's just this circle where Gong does all the work until a human needs to be involved. Um, and it's improved their efficiency like crazy. So that's Gong. Twillo is another one I like. Same type of deal. It's an assistant. It does everything for you as far as your sales. It builds customer profiles. It connects with all of your other CRM systems and transfers the data over. One thing that Twillo is doing that a lot of the other ones aren't doing, and it's an area that you need to pay attention to, is it's actually doing what do you call it? Guardrails. So it is looking for cons that are out there. So other AIs that are trying to con your system, and it will flag them, note them. You can decide, let a human decide if you want to use it or not. In the AI and marketing space, there's more than I could possibly ever put up on a screen. They do everything from writing all of your content to creating videos for you to if you're doing podcasts, there's software out there now that will remove, I've probably said or hum 15 times at least. They'll remove all of those as I'm speaking. It will remove dead pauses. You have a fumble, you look around, it'll remove that. It all does it for you. Dub does that. Descript does that. There's a number of them. The one that I'm playing with right now that I'm using. So we have a conference coming up next month, and I wanted to do something different for the moderator. So our moderator, we have a big 40-foot LED wall that we use at our conference, and the moderator will be AI at this conference. So Synthesia, I can create an avatar and tell the avatar anything that I want it to say. Not only that, but I can give it inputs during the conference and it can talk back using AI. based on inputs. So we'll be using Synthesia to do, hey, everybody, come back and join us, sit in your seats. You don't want to miss the next thing. There's going to be an AI that does all that for us. So in the marketing space, it is endless the amount of different things that you can do. What's that?
I said that's my job.
Yeah, you're replaced, buddy. Sorry. I like you and everything, but I know some people use Superhuman. If you want to check out a AI that really is for you and will transform kind of like what you do in your email inbox, this is it. Um, transform it. It takes your ideas and will write emails. It will someone like I don't know Gabe. Where is he? Gabe sends you a 500-word email. You press one button and it summarizes it for you and tells you here's what Gabe actually wants. Um, if you're doing international business, it will write in almost every language. So you just type whatever you want and it converts it to whatever language you need it to convert to. And what's really cool about Superhuman that a lot of them don't do is it learns you. So it reads every response that you have ever written and it will write like you. So if you use certain slang words and certain ways of talking, it's going to write like you. It's really cool. I'm sure everybody's heard of DeepSeek by now. I put DeepSeek in here for the fact that there's going to be regulation around this, and also a bit of a risk with this. Um, you know, China doesn't typically play by the same rules that we do. So this model, not unlike OpenAI, actually, though, whatever you put in it, IP, anything like that, you don't necessarily own it anymore. So I'd be very careful with some of the new emerging AIs that are out there. Go to ones that you trust and know. Um, I don't know about these guys yet. Speaking of ones you trust and know, Copilot by Microsoft. If this was a year ago, I'd tell you to stay away from it because it wasn't very good. Now it's pretty good. They've got all of it integrated into Excel, into PowerPoint, etc. It's starting to write emails for you, actually pretty good. What's cool about Copilot is it focuses on your data. So it looks into your folder structure and can read everything that you've ever done or anything that you have access to. So if you have a big network of data and presentations and all this other stuff, it'll look at it and it will actually read it and bring you ideas. If you are trying to do a bunch of things in Excel and you don't know any formulas at all, you don't need to anymore. You just tell it, hey, I need to sum this column, or I want the first name and last name, combined in column D. It'll just do it. It's amazing what Copilot can do now. It's an add-on to your existing license for the full version. It's fairly cheap. Um, this one's kind of a no-brainer now to me. If you're not doing anything in that space, play with Copilot.
Does that say like they don't?
So Copilot is inside of your Microsoft system. However, it is using the OpenAI backbone. So, and I've got a little slide on OpenAI here in a second. Um, so AI and adoption, right? So this was a study that McKinsey put out in 2024. So 72% of the people that they interviewed, business owners, have adopted at least one AI function, most likely in marketing. It's funny. Last year, I was at a conference and there was different breakouts. There was finance people, IT people, and marketing people. Now I was in the IT room and I said, hey, how many of you guys have fully implemented something in AI in your organization? Two people raised their hand, right? I go over to the marketing room and I said, hey, how many of you guys have put in some AI in your organization? Every single marketing person's hand went up. Um, that's what most likely that is. When you get to two functions, it drops to 50, three functions drops to 27. So it's still early in this game with AI adoption. What are people using it for? Improved business operations, personal assistants are a big deal. Anybody doing coding, it's a big deal. and a lot in the accounting space. You can automate a lot of your accounting functions using AI. There's a speed limit though now. A year ago, when Deloitte did a study, they asked these CEOs, how excited are you about AI? And everyone, 80 some percent, said, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. That number's dropped down into the 50s. So the super excitement has worn off a little bit on it. And then they also found that the technology is moving exponentially faster than the organizations can move or want to move. So what they're finding now is they're still moving at the speed of the organization, not the speed of technology, which creates risks in and of itself because the technology is changing so rapidly. I had this same presentation from 3 months ago, and it looks nothing like it did 3 months ago. The tech is completely evolved in just 3 months' time. The turnover is insane in this space. Like him? Oh, this guy's not having a good day. But here's some of the obstacles that we've looked at. So you don't have the right people, lack of skilled people in the space. You're not sure about the ROI on it. Difficulty identifying which ones to use. That's a huge struggle for all of our firms is going, okay, which one of these do I actually try? Because it's not free and it's not cheap. It's not easy to implement these things. Um, there's a lack of governance around a lot of them. There's a lot of risk issues with them from data, et cetera. We have no idea what regulatory is going to be. I think with what happened in politics in the last few months, I think regulatory is going to get pushed. It's not going to be as bad as what it was going to be. Um, Job replacement fear, and then just simply how do we get going? Um, so for risk, there's a study that's out, or not a study, but this guy put together this thing called PDOOM, and basically he goes around, he asks all these famous people what they think the probability of AI, being Terminator and taking over the whole country, and we all dying from it. Um, so it's kind of funny, but if you look at the people that are at the top of the spectrum, they all do work for research centers on the safety around AI, and everyone at the bottom are ones that actually want AI to go. The average American is like a 30% chance. The average AI engineer is a little higher, but it's just a fun stat. By the way, that picture right there was generated by ChatGPT. The picture earlier that you saw of the Tesla in the rain, that was created by Midjourney, which is another AI that does pictures. And that took me 10 seconds maybe to get that picture. All right, warning. Not even kidding here. Uh, when you use these, they know who you are. They know exactly who you are. They have any information you've ever put on social media, they know. Any information that is out there about where you live, what your phone numbers are, who you work for, what your LinkedIn profile is, they know. Um, if you actually go through like OpenAI and the other ones, rights of use policies, they have the right to use your content. Um, and oh, by the way, the amount of money. So let's say you get in trouble, right? You grab something out of ChatGPT that was wrong and it ended up defaming someone. You know how much money you get from ChatGPT? How much they're liable for? $20. The cost of 1 month of your premium subscription with them. If you don't pay them anything because you're using the free, they're responsible for nothing. So be extremely careful with what you put in here and what you take out of here. There's been a lot of people who have been sued um, now because of things that they've used from ChatGPT and other sources that just weren't true and they published it. So check, verify. One of the prompts that I always do when I do any research or anything on ChatGPT is I have them source. I say include all sources with everything that you tell me. And then they'll include the source so I can actually click on it and make sure that's legit. Um, so just be careful. The risks in this space, data, privacy, etc. You put something in there related to a customer, it gets out there, you're still on the hook. Ethical and legal, operational, financial risk if something goes bad. Obviously, your reputation. If you have a chat bot talking to customers and it goes haywire, it is what it is. Um, sorry. Uh, but I will tell you this, going back to the sales thing. So, we're very fortunate to have Derek Hall, who's the president and CEO of the Arizona Diamondbacks. He'll be at our conference next month. And so we were talking to him just a couple days ago. Do you know who his number one salesperson is in his entire organization? And it's not even close. An AI bot. Yeah, the Arizona Diamondbacks has an AI bot that sells more ticket sales than anyone in the organization. And it's not even close, he said. Thousands of calls a day. It just cranks them out. AI spending. This was from Deloitte again. They 78% of people expect to spend more money this year on AI than they did last year. So it's not going to slow down. This is why it's not going to slow down. So this is from the same study. The ROIs on doing an investment in AI are outrageous. You're talking 60 some percent are over 11% return. 31 to 50%, 14% return. I mean, you're talking the lowest is you're still getting a return. It's crazy how effective they are. Again, I have links to all this stuff in here. Go check out that study. It's a really good study. And here's some of the case studies that prove some of this. I included big guys, but it's every company from big to small are getting big deals out of this. Amazon created a AI coding assistant called Q. $260 million it saved them, and it saved them 4,500, not developer hours, developer years of time. And they're using it to basically generate, how do they do that again? Oh, it identifies security vulnerabilities, and it also does all of the maintenance on all of their software for Amazon. Netflix, when you get things that it wants you to watch, it used to be a human being doing that type of stuff, not anymore. 80% of the streaming is driven by AI of what you're watching, $1 billion it saved them. This one I love, John Deere. They created a See and Spray bot that hooks to your tractor when you're spraying herbicide and killing weeds. This is amazing. The average is 59% reduction in the amount of herbicide you need to use. The advanced one they have now, 90%. It's insane. Think about how much better that is for the environment. And then Dow, on their freight side, they've automated their invoice auditing. So not even the invoicing, just the auditing of the invoice to make sure that they're right. And they're saving 3%. 3% on several $1 billion is a lot of money. And then I'll wrap up with, how do you actually get started? So you have to really think about what it is that you want to do. What are you trying to accomplish with it? And I actually think the second thing on here should probably be the first thing, and that is build a good team. What I'm seeing is people are building teams that are across all their departments in their organizations. So they're bringing in a marketing person, they're bringing in someone who's in the weeds doing customer service, and then they're bringing in a tech guy or two. And that's the team that they're forming to actually identify these work processes that can be automated and use AI on. If you don't have good data, don't bother. If you don't have good data, you can't use a lot of the AI tools. Now, in the marketing space and some of the sales space, you can, because you can build your data lake with that. But if you don't have good data for actual analytics and business operations analytics, don't bother. And then build your roadmap, invest in different pilots, and then scale and establish an actual governance, ethics, improvement around it. That's how you get started. That was a lot of crap. Any questions?
So great. Thank you so much, Teric. Everyone give Teric a hand. Give a hand to Mike Dowdy.
So I'm going to piggyback on what Tarek was talking about. Essentially, where there's a ton of hype about AI, all it comes down to is machines making decisions like humans do. And we just call them nodes. Instead of a server, you have a node, and they just use conditional statements like a human would do. If someone asks you a question in your mind, you're thinking in conditional statements. Is this true? Yes, no. And you just go through the path. Essentially, that's what they are. The reason why it's taken off now, just like the gentleman who just asked the question, it actually has real use cases. You can actually have a whole business run on AI, where before it was more like an academic endeavor. And before I do that, I should see if I had my introduction here. Yeah, I want to introduce myself a little bit more. Mike Dowdy with RapidScale. What makes us unique is we're owned by Cox Business, which is a privately held company. Everyone in our space is owned by private equity firms, and we have Rachel here from Cox representing. If anyone has any questions for Rachel, and that's the big play, because in our world, in tech world, everything's owned by private equity. Everything is in 90 days. You get it done in 90 days, or we're gonna regroup everything. With Cox, they're taking a long play with AI, and that's why RapidScale came on with Cox Communications. Um, so with that said, now you know who I am. Some things I want to touch on that Tarek talked about. Big one that gets me is predictive analytics for customer behavior. Has anyone logged into Amazon and realized this thing knows me better than I do? That's AI. Like I'll go in there and the shed will pop up. It's like, how the hell did it know I was looking for a shed? It's really good at predicting our behavior. Um, Automating routine tasks. This one, especially like with invoicing, any company that's doing invoicing now, almost all of them, especially big companies in the Fortune 500, are using AI to process those invoices. They're using, well, I know AWS the most. So what they're using is called an auto extract, where the machine runs through all the invoices, pulls the stuff out, and then just pulls out what's really relevant. Um, 24/7 support for AI chatbots. I don't know about anyone in here, but I've gotten in arguments with chatbots. They've gotten so good. And it's like, oh shit, that's not a human. Because I'll start arguing with it and it'll say, do you want me to get a live rep for you? Like, I thought it was a live reps. So they're really good. And again, any of the major companies in the Fortune 500, they're using chatbots. And Tarek talked about this is really good. So I like the fact that we're on the same page. There's a ton of hype about AI, but it pretty much comes down to these five things. Generative AI like ChatGPT, we're doing a lot of that. Manufacturing using RPA. Um, but yeah, this is what it comes down to. And I like making things simple. So I like to think of terms that are truths that I can't deduct from. So when people start talking about AI, I just try to categorize it and like, hey, which one of these five are they talking about? And it helps you just sort out the BS to what's really relevant to the business case that you're trying to solve. And in every vertical is using AI now. I'm going to touch on some of these. On the financial side, I'm seeing a lot of fraud protection, Jesus, Mike, protection with finance. Because what's going on is a lot of people will submit a form, they'll possibly hack an account, say Charles Schwab, but Charles Schwab will say, hey, wait a minute, this individual's in San Diego. This IP address is coming from the Midwest. Is that true? And then it'll force you to go through MFA. If you fail MFA, they'll know it's fraud. But for the first level, AI is really good on preventing fraud. Let's see. Pretty much all of them. Marketing, jeez, everything in marketing is AI now. I mean, it's pretty much taken over the space. Parenting, they're working on that. My wife's a therapist, and I always tease her, they're going to replace you. They're going to replace you with AI, especially on the parenting side. Here's what I thought was interesting on the content creation, because content creation's tough. But AI can help you a lot on that, just with the images, and then I'm gonna go more into the prompts, but it's really effective in helping you create content on a regular basis. What I've seen it too recently is knowledge bases where you create an internal knowledge base for a company, and then they can search it using AI as opposed to doing a traditional search feature. Again, this is what I want to talk about. There's a lot of AI bots and AI programs that you can buy. Unless you have the budget for it, I suggest taking that route as opposed to creating your own AI engine. So some of the things that I want to talk about is first you have to have the business goals. So what is this thing going to do? And I can't say this enough. Data scientists are not cheap. So before you hire a firm with data scientists, database engineers, and coders, think about, hey, what is it I'm going to try to get accomplished? Usually it's going to be you want to automate something, then frame the problem because the machine is still a machine. Computers only know what you tell them. Yes, they try to think like humans, but there's a lot of hallucinations. Like play with ChatGPT or any of the engines for a while. It'll give you some responses like, that's kind of crazy because it's a machine. So you still want to frame the problem. You want to make sure you get the exact outcome you want. The other one that I see a lot is the data source. A lot of people don't have a ton of data. So why not use someone else's data? If you do have a ton of data, like the gentleman that asked a question earlier, it's a good use case. If not, you're going to be in an open loop. You're going to be spending money on something that's not going to work. So that's why I kind of like to go through. Same thing with data lakes. Make sure that there's an out of the box solution that can meet your requirements before you do the big investment into getting your own AI engine. Again, they're not cheap. And I hope to bring that home. But the first step is the financial commitment. The next step is leadership. One of the challenges I've had is people on the tech side and the marketing side. Yeah, we want this. But the C suite's going to go, no, I don't think so. Because you guys want me to have all these W-2 employees to work on this thing. I don't even know what this thing is, much less what the output I'm going to get from it. So you definitely need leadership buy in. And the strategic vision. What is this thing going to do? Um, a lot of times I've seen people get all kind of like I'm old enough to remember when the web first came out and like in the 90s, everyone's like, oh, I got to have a website. I got to have a website. And they're like, what the hell is my website going to be about? Well, it's kind of the same thing with AI. There's a lot of hype around it. A lot of people saying, hey, I need AI. But before you do that, you need to step back and say, what is the use case for this? What is it going to do? And I always like just looking at, hey, what is a process that I'm doing every day that's chewing up time that I could be doing something that's productive? And that's where to start with. And then the infrastructure, it does run in the cloud. Um, it's contingent on your situation. Honestly, for the most part, we use AWS and Azure. Azure is getting a lot better. Sometimes Google. The days of data centers, because I used to run them in San Diego, are kind of over with 45 cents per kilowatt hour. Like SDG&E has pretty much killed that business. Plus, it's so much easier just to pump all the data into the cloud. And if it is something you want to do, I like frameworks. Here's pretty much the framework that you're going to work with in order to get the AI model up. Can't stress that one enough is the guardrails. Um, you definitely want the guardrails in place. And I want to touch on that a little bit. I do sales, and one of the things that I do in sales, I'll type in, hey, how does X amount of how does this company make money? How can my company, RapidScale, help them make more money? Well, the machine knows because all that data is in the machine. So it'll give me the specifics on what the company's doing, whatever challenges they are having, and how it ties into my company. Wherever the data lives, that's who controls the data. It's not the engine. I hear a lot of people talk about the engines like GPD, DeepSeek, and these different engines. It's not the code, it's where that data lives. You could actually download some of the open source ones, run it locally, and then you don't have to worry about that. But I can't be more clear about that. You just, before you put information into the machine, you've got to tell yourself, am I fine with the whole world having this data? Not too many people talk about that, but they do. They own your data. And I zipped through that a lot. I think Teric talked a lot about it.
All right, thank you, Mike. Everyone give Mike a hand.